So recently I created a video in which I offered 5 practical tips for finding balance in one's life. And the balance that I'm talking about is between comic book collecting, fitness, work, family, and other responsibilities that we all have. And I actually created this video by request of a subscriber who has seen some of my other content out there and reached out and said, hey, do you think you could do another video? And I'll be honest with you, these are not the types of videos that a lot of people watch, right? These are not the videos that get, thousands of views and hundreds of thumbs up and all that kind of stuff, but they are videos that I enjoy making. And I also think that there are people out there that actually benefit from this type of content. And so I'm definitely going to continue making it. And part of me thinks that maybe if I were less positive and maybe more gloomy and, had a darker outlook on life and maybe got a little angry or something like that, then I think maybe these videos would get a lot more views, but that's just not me. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to continue being who I am, which is a positive person that tries to help other people to make sense of this hobby. That is the mission here. And so it is in that spirit that we are going to create another video. This video is going to look at the other side of that coin, right? So instead of saying, hey, you need to find balance, I'm going to say, forget balance. Balance does not matter. And so in this video, we are going to explore 5 practical tips as to why you should not focus on finding balance. But before we get to those tips, I want to acknowledge this video's sponsor. And the sponsor is Shortboxed. Shortbox is the easiest way to buy and sell graded comics. And if you click the link down in the description, you can actually download the app today. The other thing that I'll mention to you is if you take the time to comment on this video, you could potentially win a $100 credit to use on Shortbox. A winner will be picked later this month and announced on an upcoming Comics Today show. As I mentioned at the top of this video, sometimes you have to forget about balance. When you have a goal that is meaningful to you, you have to put the blinders on and get after it. You don't have time for distractions, and you have to block out some things that are in your life. You have to deprioritize some stuff so that you can focus on achieving that goal. I actually did this when I was working on my MBA in pharmaceutical marketing. Not only was I working on my MBA, but I was also working full time as a marketer for a biotech company. So it is like 2 goals all converging at the same time. And there was a lot that went on during this time. As I mentioned in the previous video, I wasn't sleeping a whole lot. I almost had a few accidents for falling asleep while at the wheel trying to drive to and from work. And my relationships with other people suffered around me as a result. But I achieved my goal. I was able to get my MBA. I was able to get promoted a couple of times as a marketer, and I've continued in that career to this day. And so, yes, I made some sacrifices. I made some choices, but they worked for me. And maybe it's important for me to take this back to comics, right? If you have a key comic or a grail comic that is meaningful to you that you are going after, sometimes you're going to have to pass on the hot book of the week or of the month. You're not going to be able to pick up that mystery box. Maybe you can't spend as much money on New Comic Book Day or go to the con and go digging through the long boxes because you are focused on that key comic that you want or need in your collection. And because of that, sometimes you have to let go of some of the other stuff so that you can have that focus to achieve your goal. Tip number 2 is to make it a sprint and not a lifestyle. And what I mean by this is that if you are going to put the blinders on and focus on that goal to the detriment of other things around you, you don't want to make that your norm, right? I honestly don't even think that you can make it your norm because that's really no way to live. But for a fixed amount of time, I think that it's okay to really just put your head down and drive towards that goal. While I was working on my MBA, I basically did it for 18 months. It was a brutal 18 months for me and for everybody around me, but it was for a fixed amount of time. And once I achieved that goal, then things started to change for the better, right? Relationships, my stress level, a lot of things change for the better. So again, make it a sprint, not a lifestyle. Tip number 3 is to communicate to those people around you so that they know what you're doing and why you're doing it. I think that this is one of the best tips that I can offer you, because if you're going to put those blinders on and drive forward, you want to make sure that you don't leave bodies in your wake, right? And one great way to not do that is to communicate to the people around you, the people that you care about. Let them know what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it, how long it's going to go on, so they can get on board and they can support you and be more accepting of some of the things that you're doing. I remember at one point I was training for a bodybuilding competition. And normally my prep is about 16 weeks. And some crazy stuff happened at work where my prep went from 16 weeks to 31 weeks. I don't know if you've ever dieted for that long, but it is brutal. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was not a pleasant person. I had a lot of stress at work at the time. I had a family situation going on. And I was also dieting. I was Mr. Cranky Pants. I will tell you that. And I honestly did not communicate enough to the people around me. I didn't tell everybody what was going on so that they could actually help me. And as a result of that, I damaged a lot of relationships. And after the competition, I actually won the competition. But after the competition, I actually spent a tremendous amount of time making up for the damage that was done by my bad attitude that was induced by low carbs and a lot of stress. My point here is that you don't want to leave bodies in your wake. You don't want to do damage. And one way to prevent that is to communicate to those people that are around you, that care about you, that want to see you be successful, that want to see you, advance your career, or, if you're working overtime in order to get a key book, people want to be there for you. Let them support you by telling them what's going on. Tip number 4 is to take time to celebrate. Once it's all over, once you've achieved your goal, whatever that goal is, take some time to actually celebrate the win. Take time to acknowledge the work that was done to achieve that goal. And that's one of the things that I've actually spoken about several times on the channel. When I get a key book, I don't just rush off and get the next key. I try to take time to actually appreciate what it is that I've achieved. I spend some time staring at the book that I just picked up so that I can, just soak it all in, right? And I've said this before, it is very easy to spend money. But it's a whole nother thing to spend money and to have an experience. And if you've been saving up for a book, or you've been working overtime to get a book, or you've been selling books to buy books, or whatever it is, and you get that thing, whatever that thing is, take the time to actually celebrate that thing. And I can tell you from experience that when I was younger, I rushed from project to project to project. I rushed from goal to goal to goal. And I did not take the time to stop and appreciate what it is that I had achieved. I did not take the time to reflect upon the journey that I was on. I simply, checked the box and moved on to the next thing. And I don't think that that's the best approach, right? At the end of the day, you'll have to decide what makes sense for you. But personally, I have learned some important lessons from some of my behavior in the past. And that is part of the reason why I'm creating this video now, to say, hey, learn from my mistakes. Tip number 5 is to find your balance again. If you have put those blinders on in order to go after a goal, once you achieve that goal, or after a period of time, you need to take those blinders off. And you need to look at those other aspects of your life that you may have ignored for that period of time. And you might need to focus on those things. And if you don't focus on those things, there could be consequences. There could be some ramifications that I don't think we want to explore. We're not going to explore that in this video, but I will tell you for a fact that I do that. If I spend a lot of time in this room reading comics or bagging and boarding or recording videos and editing videos and putting up social media posts, I will literally not come into this room for a few days. I might not even record a video for a week or two because I am allowing that focus to just go away for a little bit while I turn my attention to other aspects of my life that are important, that were on the back burner, but now need my attention because I care about those things. And I'm not going to tick off what those things are. We all have those things in our life. So I definitely want to encourage you, if you've put these blinders on, when you take them off, to then try to find your balance again, because it's a sprint. It is not a lifestyle. It cannot be maintained long term without giving up some things and having some serious potential consequences. So this video didn't have a whole lot to do with comics, but it is a video that I enjoy making, and I'm hopeful that someone out there will also enjoy it. Before I let you go, I definitely want to acknowledge my sponsor again, Shortbox. There is a link down in the description. Go ahead and click it. And if you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.